polishing on these cars. They've been working on the engines. They've been working on the chassis. They've been working on the drivetrain. They've been trying to get these things as perfect as possible to be able to make that one lap that says we have done the best job back at the shop. Because when you get here, pretty much what you have is what you've got. So the guys themselves have done the best job they possibly can. Now guess what? It's all up to the driver.
You know, and for the driver, Steve, this is a place where in qualifying, the driver probably cannot make the car go faster, but a driver can make the car go slower. You got to go through the gears exactly right, not over-rev the engine, keep it in the right RPM band, but also you tug that wheel just a little bit too much in the middle of these corners, you can slow the car down a little bit. So the driver is a person that, you know, is very important element as far as qualifying here too.
Now, Hermie, 20 years ago, Bobby Labonte looked at me and he said, "It's so easy here, you could do it."
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Hey, precision, guys. The words you're looking for, you got to be precise, and that driver has got to be up on his game. That's for sure. Talking about up on your game, here comes the game, Kenny Wallace.
Kenny has a long history here. 12 nationwide series starts for the shy one at Talladega.
You know, he's had some pretty good runs in the Nationwide Series here, but he's always going to be remembered for the guy who pushed or helped to make that memorable run that Dale Earnhardt did in one of his final wins here at Talladega, coming from, I don't know, from where in the back to win
17th to first.
Yeah, it was incredible right there. And Kenny was along for the ride, helping him all the way.
You can see fans, once Kenny Wallace crosses the start-finish line to get the white flag, now, Steve, he's right at the bottom of the racetrack. The first lap, a lot of these drivers use the top side of the racetrack to wind the cars up, to get these RPMs wound up. Lap number 2, you go right around the bottom of the racetrack, the shortest way around.
Also joining us here this morning, the good Dr. Dick Berggren.
Well, thank you. Mark Martin is the guy who gets the credit for identifying Joey Logano as the next superstar. Asked who he thought the next one was going to be after Logano, he said, and I quote, "The kid in the 99, he's awful. He's a fine young man and an incredibly great driver." How about that?
That's pretty cool, man. Except I hope he didn't say awful, right?
Awful good.
Awful good. Okay. No, but Mark Martin's a great guy. I got the opportunity to work with him at DEI a little bit and talked to him since then a couple times. But, you know, that's really cool for him to say that, and that means a lot. So now we just got to live up to it. Hopefully we can keep this Dream Machine up front here in the next couple days. If we get it in, heard we got some tornado watches or something coming. So we'll just dodge them. Is now the man to beat. Stay with us here in Talladega. The 1992 NASCAR Nationwide Series champion Joe Nemechek has 18 Nationwide Series poles, and Hermie, 5 of them have come here at Talladega.
I'll tell you what, he has for a long time been the guy to watch out for, especially in qualifying. Joe is really good, you know, fabricating, and really good with engine tuning and those kind of things. He's always worked really hard to bring fast cars to Talladega and Daytona.
Jeff, he leads a lot of categories here in terms of drivers, and top 5 finishes, top 10s, lead lap finishes, laps led. Joe's at the top of the record book.
And, you know, the funny thing about it is, and again, it wasn't all Joe. If you remember back when he was really in his heyday and making it happen around here, guess who was leading number 87 car? A guy named Brian Patty.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Brian Patty is a master of detail, and I think that they really made a great track a little bit shorter.
Talladega hasn't been a great track for Keselowski, but he has 29 top 10 finishes in his last 32 races. '20-year-old James Buescher, the 1 car for Phoenix Racing. 8th overall on his first lap.
The Phoenix Racing's had some success at the speedway tracks over the years as well.
Yes, they've had some very fast race cars, and right now this young man is, even though he's a rookie, second in rookie points, are having a pretty decent season so far.
Buescher had 2 wins and just 4 ARCA starts last year. He is 19th in NASCAR Nationwide Series points, moved up 2 spots after Texas. And let's see if he's going to move up on this second lap. He does, all the way up to second. 50. Tomorrow, the Rolex Sports Car Series will thunder through the gentle landscape of Virginia. On the legendary Virginia International Raceway, Pruitt and Rojas will continue their quest towards the championship. Don't miss the Rolex Sports Car Series from VIR tomorrow at 2 Eastern
only on speed. They were just racing down here, weren't they, in Birmingham? Barber, is it Barber Motorsports?
Barber Motorsports, yep.
Did you like Hermie like that, the legendary Virginia? Anything that has Virginia, Hermie's.
I'm a proud Virginian, man.
You are a Virginian.
He's a Virginia native. Commonwealth, Virginia. Let's make sure we get that straight.
Smoky Ordinary. That's where his mom's from.
It's right outside of A&T.
We're not going to go down that road again, are we?
Which is near
Sugar Pig Hill.
Sugar Pig Hill.
Population 49.
Hey.
Did it, and just for Fastenal and Copart and all these guys, I hope we can build on what we did last week. We had such a solid run, had some bad luck, and Steve Arpin up there, he I walked out of the hauler and he's on the pole, and I thought, man, people are telling me that they can't get the smile off his face, so I'm gonna sneeze. My allergies are killing me. I need my Claritin. Just excited to get the race started. Hopefully we can race up there with Steve. I think our teammates are going to be pretty good too. They had some more qualifying runs, and they might actually have something for that 33 car. It'd be great to have a Ford on the pole.
And Carl Edwards was one of the people that was pushing to get Steve Arpin in the Nationwide Series.
Yeah, and I got to give credit to Carl Fredrickson. He's the one who called me and said, man, you got to go drive this guy's race car. You got to meet him, and hopefully Steve does as well as we all hope he can.
I think he will. Thank you.
Yeah, Dick, so far so good for Steve Arpin. He's third overall. It's Kevin Harvick and Carl Edwards in front of him. Robert Richardson Jr., former SMU quarterback. Final driver who is locked into the field. Coming up, we'll see Morgan Shepherd, Donnie Neuenberger, and Bobby Gerhart as knockout qualifying begins.
When you listen and you hear what Carl Edwards said about Steve Arpin about getting a shot, I think there's not very many people that can be much better than saying how much it meant to him to get a shot and making the most of it. So I'm sure that Carl and a lot of the people are, that have had them can really understand where he's coming from. I'm talking about Steve Arpin making the most of this opportunity.
And give Carl credit. He's trying to pay it forward, helping out young drivers. Let's see if Robert Richardson Jr. picks up on his second lap in his Chevrolet. Checkered flag unfurled for Richardson. Picks up just a little.
It's not me that does that. That's these guys. So this is their qualifying effort. This is their day to shine. So hopefully we can put it up there for them.
All right, thanks, Parker. It's been good to watch these guys from the ARCA series move up through the Nationwide and have success.
9 times Parker Kligerman won in the ARCA series last year. Wendy. As we watch Donnie Neuenberger from Brandywine, Maryland, driving Jimmy Means' car, Hermie, I want to ask you, this perhaps is a dumb question, but we've heard drivers say the car drafts well. If you're driving a car that doesn't draft well, obviously you're not going to finish well, but why wouldn't a car draft well? What prevents it from doing so?
Well, what you want in a car in drafting is when you pull up behind another car, you want to be able to go all the way and actually make contact with that car or be able to gain speed and pull out and pass. A car that does not draft well, whether it be an engine, whether it be the body or the cowl or the aerodynamics, a car that does not draft well, as you pull up behind another car, your car will actually stall out. It will not allow you. It's like the wind buffer. You get there and the other car just pushes you back, will not allow you to make that contact or get that momentum to make a pass. So if you've got a car that will not pull up, and if your car stalls out, it just makes it difficult for you to make passes in traffic.
Jeff, how do you fix that? How do you get a car that won't draft well, as Hermie said, pull up to that bumper?
Go back to the shop and get you something else, because a lot of times what you have here, you're stuck with. All that preparation, a lot of that work has to be done back at the shop. Not like a lot of places where you can change some springs and work on a little bit. Yeah, you can tweak on the fenders a little bit. You can try to keep the car, maybe add a little more tape. But Steve, most of the time, if you've got a car that won't work here when you show up, you're not going to fix it here at the racetrack unless you bring the body man down and start doing some serious beating and banging.
Yeah, you do some body work, and a lot of times it has to do with cowl pressure. When you get right behind another car, instead of the air going into cowl, that air is bouncing off that car in front of you and going around your car, so you lose a lot of that cowl pressure. So
which means you don't make horsepower.
Yeah, the smart engine guys and the Doug Yates that we've talked about, those kind of people know how to get that car to continue to keep that cowl force, that air shoving in that cowl to make horsepower.
Donnie Neuenberger in that 52 car, currently 27th quickest on his first lap with IHOP on the car. And this weekend, Bob Sharp, who happens to be one of the owners, the West Virginia IHOP store owner, is on this car in honor and memory of the West Virginia coal miners that tragically lost their life. And so they've done a lot up in West Virginia to try to help that rescue activity and everything going up there. So great effort right there by Jimmy Means and Donnie Neuenberger.
All new Fast Track to Fame. It's the talent competition so wild it can only happen trackside. Watch an all new Fast Track to Fame from Talladega Super Speedway Monday, 8 Eastern only on Speed. Speaking of speed, Kevin Harvick is the quickest in his Chevrolet, 187.375 miles per hour. Veteran Bobby Gerhardt, longtime ARCA campaigner, driving the 75 car. Collaborative effort with Bob Shack.
Guys, this 75 car, it ran into a little bit of a buzzsaw when it got down here going through inspection. They had a few parts and pieces that NASCAR wasn't really happy with. They talked about the trailing arm, some bolts, a couple lower control arms. By the time they got through rebuilding this car, they only got a couple of laps on the racetrack. So Bobby's had his hands full, but right now coming back to start-finish line, looks like they're going to make a great recovery, and they're going to wind up being 11th quickest in the 75 car.
Bobby has just 8 nationwide series starts, but as far as restrictor plate racing, 6 Daytona wins, and he also has a win here, Wendy, in ARCA competition back in 2000. Jeff, Hermie, you guys can speak to this. How difficult is it for these guys, for logistically speaking? They were supposed to race Saturday in Texas, wound up not racing until early Monday evening. I mentioned it earlier, Brian Scott said they missed 2 entire days in the shop, have to turn right back around and be in Talladega.
I think it was already talked about by Jason Leffler that his guys were working up to 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning trying to get caught up. And Steve, you don't want to talk about bad things, but a lot of the teams are prepared that in the event it's raining here on Saturday to leave Talladega, go back to their shops in Charlotte, work Saturday evening and Sunday before returning down here on Monday, because that's when the race will probably wind up being rescheduled according to NASCAR's director, Joe Ballish, and if they happen to get rained out, it will be run on Monday. So there's been a lot of planning and trying to get caught up because guys are right now behind going into Richmond.
It's like a lot of other things. The bigger teams that have more manpower, they can react to stuff like that. Some of the teams, especially a lot of these in the nationwide series, that don't have extra equipment and haulers and extra people at the shop, it puts them at more of a disadvantage.
24-year-old Shelby Howard to the start-finish line. Great effort by Bobby Gerhardt, 11th overall.
Shelby's got a good lap going, a good lap one, and looks good right around the bottom of the racetrack. Chris Rice is the crew chief on this car and got a lot of experience in the nationwide series, so Shelby's run pretty good in limited starts this year. He's really had a competitive car.
But guys, I think we also need to touch on the fact that we've seen what Kevin Harvick's done here, Carl Edwards has done. Those cars are race qualified trim. These cars, a lot of them may wind up being 100% qualifying trim. They may have done some things that get a little extra speed out of the car that may wind up hurting them when they drop the green flag whenever they do go racing here in the Nationwide Series.
Well, let's talk about that, because what are some of the tricks they do in the Sprint Cup Series, and are they similar here?
Very much similar. I mean, sometimes they'll come with a little bit, man, what about a qualifying lap?
Fourth overall.
Quickest overall right there for Shelby Howard. Great effort. But what they do, I mean, they may change the grease in the transmission and the rear end for one. They may run a little bit lighter oil there to try to reduce the drag, increase horsepower. Even to the fact, even with the engine, they may lean it out a little bit more for qualifying. It may not be the right thing to do. That may put them in jeopardy for the race. Even some of the setup itself, even though NASCAR is very much involved with the springs and shocks as far as that's concerned, but whatever they can do to keep that car, pinned down and make it run faster, but it may not be that good in the draft.
And just really give me a lot of advice on how to stay out of trouble tomorrow. So, like I said before, our biggest priority here tomorrow is to finish this race, and hopefully we'll be there competitive at the end. We obviously have a good enough car to do it. Now I just got to do my job.
Good strategy. Finish.
That's all that matters.
Yep.
I can tell you what happens. They drop the green flag, and for the first 3/4 of the race, everybody is somewhat cordial, a little bit of give and take. The last 15 laps, not so much.
Hermie, he brings up he had an opportunity to talk to Carl Edwards and get some advice. When you were getting into the sport, was there anybody that you went to on a regular basis that could help you with something like that? Was there a go-to guy that you felt like, I'll ask a question, he will give me the truth?
Okay. Always been that way. I mean, once I got to the Nationwide Series, late models, you have your guys, the local guys you talk to, but once I got to the Nationwide Series, I was going from running at South Boston to going to Daytona, a big change. And Mark Martin has always been a guy that I felt like you could go ask a question, whether it be about a setup or driving style or information. He would always tell you the truth.
Steve Arpin talking about his conversation with Carl Edwards, and I don't remember exactly how he worded it, but he said he was trying to learn the easy way. If you learn a hard lesson, give me an example of that, Hermie.
Hitting the wall hard, or learning when to make a move too quick, or
I'm saying specifically, what's the hardest lesson you learned as we watch Josh Wise?
I spun Chuck Brown out for 6 weeks. He never retaliated, but every time I tried to walk by him, I'd get my nerve up to speak. He would always, kind of look at me, and I'd walk the other way. So be careful who you spin out is a hard lesson to learn.
Family love. Gotta love
Take a picture,
Steve.
Wendy. Take a picture. Good job. You did it. I owe you. What a nut. Brad Keselowski's older brother, Brian, on the racetrack. By the way, Shelby Howard, tremendous qualifying effort, 4th overall, and he is now locked into the show. Josh Wise, the slowest of the go or go home drivers. Keselowski will be followed by veteran Jason Keller, the birthday boy, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., then Derek Cope. Kevin Harvick is the quickest at a 51.106, 187.375 miles per hour.
I found it interesting as you mentioned Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and we just recently talked to Colin Brown. That he felt like that maybe his two teammates may have something for Kevin Harvick. I think that's kind of interesting.
Well, to your point, Jeff, a few moments ago, these guys don't have anything to lose. They need to get in the show, and if they compromise their race setup a little bit, so be it.
Well, I really feel like that with the Roush Fenway group, I don't think they're going to be quite out on the edge as somebody who knows they may be just a little bit, on the backside of not making this show. They got to lay a lot more on the line than maybe they do. I think they feel like they've probably got good enough cars, but it'll be interesting to see. They really will.
Brian Keselowski has one Nationwide Series start here. He finished 14th a year ago.
And look at this effort right here.
Yes,
Mr. Keselowski in the 26 car. According to the tracker, he is up there inside the top 10. Again, indicates to me that they have not left anything on the table when it comes to qualifying.
Keselowski heads to the checkered flag. Let's see if he picks up. He does indeed, 8th overall.
Look at him earlier, who pretty much called his shot, that they put everything they could into this qualifying effort. They looked like they were going to have a successful outing. He backed it right up.
9 wins in the ARCA Series 1 year ago for Parker Kligerman. Jeremy Clements in the 04. He's from Spartanburg, South Carolina. 26 years old.
Hermie, let's just say, for example, if you were running this series, or Joey Logano or Clint Boyer, and you qualify back outside the top 10, and you look up there and you see a lot of guys that you don't normally have up there in front of you, like a Parker Kligerman or a Shelby Howard, you kind of like, okay, surprise qualifiers. Does that make your job a little more difficult, or you have to kind of be a little more careful picking your way through, trying to get up through those guys? Is it okay at the start of the race? What does that do for you?
It absolutely makes it more tense for you. If you are an experienced driver and you're starting behind or around a lot of drivers that you're not familiar with, it has nothing to do with them not being a good driver or whatever. It's that trust. You have programmed in your mind how somebody else races or what move they're liable to make. And you're right, Steve Burns, the trust. But they also understand that these guys, the way to get that experience is they got to race a little bit. But you certainly have to think about things just a second before you do it.
Jeff Clements up alongside that wall trying to get those RPMs
He
up.
is trying to get this thing wound up. I mean, that's what he's looking to try to do on this first lap, get every ounce of speed out of this 04 car, because he knows if he doesn't go on the second lap, he's going to go home. And after Jerry Clements will start the go or go home process. He will be the 43rd car to qualify. There's only enough room for 43 cars, so the remaining 48, 5 of them are going to have to load up here in a second and make that long trek back to their home base.
He's going to be right on the nose. Looks like right now, Jeff, at 53.31 first lap. If he picks up like, right, most of the other guys are picking up, it's going to put him right in or right outside that bubble as far as getting in.
Well, I'm just kind of worried about the fact since he's turned off and that tracker jumped over the 25 mark or 26 mark, he started backsliding.
Yeah, especially down the back straightaway where a lot of cars have been gaining speed. He didn't seem to carry that speed down the back stretch, so coming off turn 4 may really hurt him.
Following Clements, it's Chrissy Wallace, Dennis Setzer, Kevin LePage, Mark Green, and John Borneman III.
Yeah, he continues to lose speed back here to the start-finish line, and that's not what you want to see when you want to go racing on Saturday.
Doesn't pick up much at all. 52-52 on his second.
He's got a son.
Nervous dad.
Nervous
Race
dad.
this afternoon.
Larry Mack, you nervous about that ARCA race? A little bit, he says.
A little bit. There's somebody else that may be a little bit nervous, but this time Mike Wallace at least raced with his daughter one time before, and Chrissy did a pretty good showing the last time out. She wound up finishing 13th in the race.
Chrissy's 21 years old.
Yeah, I talked to the crew chief on this car a little earlier today, Curtis Davis. And this right here is a car that they purchased from Richard Childers Racing, RCR, and they did a little bit of work on it, and they've been pretty fast in it. He said he's been pretty happy with the car. He looks for great things out of Chrissy during his qualifying effort.
Chrissy finished 13th here at Talladega in a Camping World Truck Series race a year ago. Also had a top 10 finish in an ARCA race here. Finished 9th, 2008.
The telltale sign, once again, just like we saw before when we were watching Jeremy Clements in that 04 car, is that when she turns down to start her second lap of qualifying, is what kind of speed this car picks up and whether she can maintain it.
White flag for Chrissy Wallace. First lap, 52.765, 181.484 miles per hour, 40th overall.
Good first lap, though.
But look at that. Look at the tracker, guys. Look where it made the jump going down the back straightaway. She's currently in a top 10 qualifying position for Chrissy Wallace in that 0 car. That's what you want to be looking for, folks. She can maintain that down through into turn 3. She should have enough speed to get this car into the race for tomorrow.
Down around the yellow line.
Like she ran up maybe just a hair up in the center of the corner, lost a little bit of speed. Let's see what she does coming back to start-finish line. Don't slide back anymore, girl. Hang in there.
Looks like she'll be safely in.
Right, nice job.
She is 18th overall. Unfortunately, that bumps Derek Cope from the Aaron's 312 field. Final 4 drivers coming up here on Speed. Knockout qualifying continues here for the NASCAR Nationwide Series teams. Derek Cope has been bumped from the field as we watch 50-year-old Dennis Setzer in the 92 car.
His first lap not good enough to get him in the race, but let's see what he's doing here on the second. He's on the right side of that green line. Once again, we'll keep watching these folks right there. That's what you're trying to beat.
Dennis will be followed by Kevin LePage, Mark Green, and John Borneman III.
So watching coming off turn 4, this is where we've seen the wind affect some of these cars and start fading back, but he's holding his own, Jeff.
He is. Again, another Keselowski entry. His teammate Brian right there wound up being 10th quickest in the number 26 car. So see what he winds up here. That'll be enough to get him.
Would have finished that race last week.
That was unbelievable. Denny Hamlin told me last week during the rain delay, Hermie, that his knee hurts so badly that he has to get up in the middle of the night, ice it, just so he can try to go back to sleep. Gutsy performance.
It really was. Showed a lot of heart last week. A lot of heart. Take a look here at Mark Green, veteran campaigner from Owensboro, Kentucky.
Good to see. Speaking of Greens, good to see Jeff Green here.
Hey guys, right quick. We're always talking about accomplishments of individuals. I was talking to one of the Goodyear tire engineers earlier today, Rick Heinrich, and he wasn't at Texas last week, and I was asking about some tire situations from Texas. He said, I hate to tell you this, Jeff. He said, I really wasn't in the Texas race last week. I was in the mall race. I said, really? What were you doing? He ran the Boston Marathon, and I got a quick lesson and education on what it takes to get in there. You just don't walk up, sign your name on the list, and take off running. There's 25,000 entries. He finished somewhere like around 7,000. But the impressive thing was a smile on his face. He was so excited about that accomplishment, and I never really gave it much consideration, but that is a pretty neat little thing to kind of put in your resume that you ran in the Boston Marathon.
That's quite an accomplishment. By the way, I want to mention Kevin LePage in the 56 is on the 5-minute clock. LePage was supposed to go out. 49 of Mark Green on the racetrack right now.
Yeah, Mark needs to try to find some speed somewhere on this second lap. Looks like he's struggling. A little bit of trouble, but he's gaining a little bit of speed on the back straightaway, but he needs to pick it up quite a bit to like that car in the show.
He's doing what you want it to do, but it's not just doing it quick enough. He's gaining toward that green line, which is the magic line, but he's going to need some more. There he goes. He's right there on it. What's going to happen here, Hermie? Can he pick up enough? Can he pick up enough? Oh, he slid back out a little bit.
Oh, I hate to look at the scoring monitor. Well, he picked up maybe just enough.
He gave him.
Jimmy Johnson got 1 foot in the pool.
Water might be a little bit colder. Maybe too hot.
The water.
Maybe it's too hot in this case.
And why is he smiling? What's he so happy
Because he's got
about?
a huge points lead. Johnny Borneman the third.
We saw those drivers smiling and getting ready for their eagerly anticipated practice session, but now for Johnny Borneman, but he's got a pretty serious look on his face.
Hey, Hermie, what do you think about Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson trading paint last week?
I thought it was awesome.
I did too.
You get teammates like that, when they don't mind mixing it up, I think it's a statement that Jeff Gordon, he's one of the few guys, that he's got the same stuff that Jimmy's got, and when he's got a chance to race with him, he needs to show that he wants to try to win those races. And Jeff is as hungry this year as I've seen him in several years. He wants to get back to victory lane consistently.
Jeff and I were talking on Race Hub this past week about the comment Chad Knaus made. I'd rather have 2 stallions than 2 old mares.
Yep,
that's right.
To me, I don't know what the big deal was about it, really.
They were just racing.
They're just racing because they're teammates, and Jeff owns the other car, and I'll take that out of the equation. They're just racing.
You're 2 competitors. It's like 2 brothers. I don't care if it is my brother. I'm gonna run over if he's in my way.
Yep.
I want to win, but maybe worse than he does.
And Jimmy's going to see more of that as we move forward, because on the few occasions that people have shown the ability to go race with him, they need to rough him up a little bit. They need to try to put pressure on him.
Well, I think that respect and that ability to race hard goes both ways. I think that's what I'm trying to say. He is a champion. I think everybody respects him for that. But at the same time, he ties his shoes the same way you and I.
Both ways. It's up to Jeff Gordon and these other guys to put pressure on him, and it's up to Jimmy Johnson to protect his ground. He's got to stay in his ground too. So I think it could shape up to be, form some really good racing as we move down the line here.
Johnny Borneman III just completed his second lap.
What do you think, Larry Mack?
Texas anymore, but here comes the shootout, guys. It's between Mark Green and Kevin LePage, who will wind up racing tomorrow.
Anxious moments indeed for LePage and Mark Green. LePage from Shelburne, Vermont, the final driver to qualify.
Just watching the crawl above you see the Logano and Bobby Gerhardt listed there. If you notice, as we come down through here, you're going to see the name C. Wallace in the 0 car, and that means Chrissy Wallace. And right now, she's currently 18th quickest. And guys, looking at the leaderboard, she's the fastest of all the Wallaces. That includes Daddy Mike, her cousin, I think, Stephen, and her uncle Kenny. She is, as they say, giving them all a good schooling.
That's impressive.
Or an Alabama, what I'd call an Alabama butt whooping. Larry Mack likes that. Tell you what, guys, his first lap is a great indicator that maybe Kevin LePage can make something happen here. See what he does going off turn 2 down the back straightaway.
First lap, 52.98.
Come on, Kevin. It should be better than that. Slowly inching his way toward where he needs to be. Going to pick up about 0.6 of a second.
Don't think it's going to be quite enough, Jeff.
Trying to find some speed right here. Here to the start-finish line is where it's going to have to happen.
Start finish line. Let's see who. Oh, no. Kevin LePage does not make it. Mark Green